Welcome to the XLaser Quickshow XL video training series. In this series, we're going to show you how to get the most out of your XLaser by teaching you all the ins and outs of the Quickshow XL software. Now, the first question that people are going to ask is what's the difference between the normal Quickshow software and the Quickshow XL software? The normal Quickshow software contains Penguin Quickshow right now, as of this filming, in its 2.0 release, and a piece of genuine Penguin hardware, in this case usually the FB3QS, which you're going to see here in just a moment. Quickshow XL takes those components that Penguin has so well developed and adds to it a whole bunch of new stuff, such as new workspaces, abstracts, hot beam patterns, and over 100 timelines that you can use to create really rich dynamic content, bumpers and stingers if you like, to make really good content for today's electronic dance music, or really any dance music. So what we're going to do in this series is really show you how to dig into the software, get it installed, get your projector set up, and this video and a couple others like it will be available just sort of on our website. For the full series, that will come on the DVD with your Quickshow XL software product. So, available from any XLaser dealer. Hope you enjoy it. So now we're going to get you started going through all the different features of the software. But first, we're going to get you set up and running just as if you had just opened up the box and we're getting ready to install the software for the first time using an XLaser projector. So, here we go. Okay, so you've just purchased a new Quickshow XL system and you get a box that looks an awful lot like this. We're going to go through the unpacking and show you exactly how all this stuff goes together. First thing you'll notice is you get this quick start guide. We're going to go through this quick start guide, but essentially it basically tells you in what order to do things, how to install your drivers, so on and so forth. Really, really easy. This is a very, very good guide. Please use it. The people who use it have almost no problems ever. The people who don't use it occasionally have a bit of a problem, but it's here for you. Please use it. Okay, so we got that guide, and now inside the actual package, we have this guy. This is a piece of Penguin hardware. This particular model is called the FB3QS. There are a bunch of different versions of the FB3 hardware and soon to be FB4 hardware. There's the FB3XE, FB3SE. There are lots of different versions, but they all do basically the same thing. And what they are is what's called a DAC, a digital to analog converter. So on one side, it's got a USB that connects to your computer, and on the other side, it's got a DB25. It takes in digital, spits out analog, which is what the laser understands. It runs through an ILDA cable to the back port on your laser, and there you go. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to be using this in just a second. Also in here, in a little clamshell, is the actual DVD that has the Quickshow XL software on it, which again is the actual Quickshow software plus all the additional workspaces and resources in this training video series. And then lastly, you have a USB cable that comes with the system. Now, to make everything work, you're also going to need, as I just alluded to, this thing called an ILDA cable. An ILDA cable is a DB25 cable. Some people would refer to them as parallel or printer cables, but you need to make sure that the cable is of a sufficient type that it will work with ILDA. The best way to do that is to buy it from a laser vendor. We test our cables extensively. If you go to any computer store, you might get something that will work, you might not. Please do not try and make your own cables. It's not that it's rocket science, it's that the signals are very, very sensitive, and hand soldering and stuff like that just doesn't usually work well. Most of the problems that people have with their lasers and the software are when they're trying to use their own ILDA cables. So please, get ILDA cables from an actual laser vendor. You'll save yourself a ton of trouble. Okay, so what we're going to do is, so that you don't have to actually sit here and watch us install the software, we have exactly followed the instructions on this guide and have installed the software on our iMac. Now, it's worth mentioning, this is a Mac. This is PC-only software. So what we've done is we've also installed Parallels. And in Parallels, you can have this thing called Coherence. You can just call up the Windows Start menu. It pops up as a little drop-down here. You click Quickshow, and it will literally load up Quickshow just as if it was natively running on the Mac platform. Really cool, and then you can use your Mac or your MacBook Pro or whatever if you're a DJ and you're running Serato, this can run in the background, whatever you want to do. All you need is Parallels, a copy of Windows XP, for example, works really, really well. Windows 7 works fine. And then you can run it natively on your Mac very, very easily. So while this is booting up, what we're going to do is we're going to take our USB cable, we're going to plug this into the back of the computer, like so. And then per the instructions, you want to let the software load before you plug this thing in. I'm going to show you the status lights on the little DAC here. Sometimes I refer to this as a dongle. It's actually technically a DAC. So what I do, take this guy, plug it in right here, just like that. Green means it has not yet connected, but it has power, so that's good. So it's going to ask me, do I want to connect it to a Mac or to Windows XP? I really want to connect it to Windows XP because connecting it to the Mac will do absolutely nothing. So I connect to Windows XP, and then it's going to load up. And you'll see down here in the corner of the screen, right down here, you'll see that it says Projector 1 FB50340. That's the serial number of this DAC right here. And so now you see the light has turned to amber, which means that it's in communication with the software and it's going to be ready to go. So that step is all done. My DAC is all plugged in. I'm ready to go. And I have this ILDA cable here. I'm going to go ahead and plug this guy in. And I'll just take my laser projector and I'll get the female end, plug it in here. Just like this. Screw it in here a little bit for stability. Perfect. And we'll go ahead and set that back up. And then we'll just run this guy to the other end of our DAC right here. Okay, so we should be ready to rock and roll. I'll go ahead and put that right there. Now, this is not the first time I have connected this particular DAC to this particular computer. So I'm going to do this manually as if you were seeing this for the first time. So when Quickshow starts up, it's actually going to ask you to go through the quick setup menu that you see right here. So this is what you would be presented with, so we'll go ahead and say next. It says welcome, we'll say next. It asks you for your user level. If you're very, very new to laser, I would suggest going with beginner. The reason why you go with beginner or intermediate as opposed to advanced is that Quickshow makes certain assumptions based upon your level of experience and sort of helps you to not screw things up. So if you really know what you're doing, click advanced. You'll have the fullest access to all the tools, the most customizable options. But if you are newer to this, you probably want to go with beginner. It's much simpler. I'm going to go with advanced so I can show you the full range of features. And I'll click next. It's asking me what kind of laser I have in terms of the scanners. 10K, 20K, 30K. The descriptions here are not necessarily correct. They are correct in general if you look at the world market, but there are lots of variations here. What you want to do is you want to take a look at the manual that came with your laser or ask your manufacturer. In this case, this is a Mobilbeat Mark V, so I'm going to go with the 20K option. If you have a graphics system, you probably want to go with the 30K option. If you have a more simple animation system, then you will probably want to go with the 10K option. It's adjustable in the software, and we'll get into this in a lot more detail. This just sort of gives you rough settings to start with. Okay, and now it's going to ask me how many colors are in my laser projector, and by default it selects 3, so I'm going to go ahead and select 3 as this is an RGB system. If you had a green only system, you would select 1, but since we have 3, we'll leave it there. And then it asks you what kind of color system you have, TTL or analog. What this is asking you is whether or not your laser can dim. If it can dim, then you have an analog system. If it's either on or off, then you have a TTL system. It's not going to hurt anything to choose one or the other if you're wrong, but it's going to give you inconsistent performance. So if you know, go ahead and pick whichever one you know. If you don't know, pick TTL, and you can always try analog later. So there you go, it's going to apply the settings, and we are off and running, and here is the main Quickshow workspace, and we're going to run through all the different features that are in this workspace.